Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to round 7 out of 10, can you believe, of the 2014 World Sport Series. Today, we're here at Hockenheim, and I'm sure you've seen enough of these cars in the 24 Hours of Le Mans to last you until Christmas, but we are here, as always, plenty of battling to go on, I'm sure, in what is turning out to be GPVWC's most open competition of 2014 in both the drivers and the teams competition. My name is James Kirk, and I'll be taking you through the action. As always, around this 4.6 kilometre circuit, we're going to be indulging ourselves in 2 races of 15 laps each. Will we have a brand new man for pole position? Will we have any new winners today? Judging by the form of this season so far, the answer to both those questions is, well, most likely yes. And let's give you an idea of what this Hockenheim circuit looks like with Cameron Brewster now for Cosmo Autosport, currently sitting 10th in the championship. Deceptively simple is Hockenheim. Going into turn 1, for example, extremely fast right-hander. You don't want to run too wide there, otherwise, well, you don't want to run there wide too many times, I should say, otherwise you might be susceptible to a penalty. Going to turn 2 now, we go down into a much slower corner, and it's a tight right hand to left hand ascent through this corner onto the long curved back straight. We're going to see a lot of slipstreaming here, and we're coming up now to one of the most prevalent overtaking points on this circuit, the hairpin down at turn 5, I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it is turn 5. Got it right for once. Good old me. Hairpin. Deceptively, well, it's very deceptive, that one. You can lose so much time through there if you don't take it correctly and get on the power as fast as possible. Going through the right-hander now of turn 6 into the Mercedes section, I believe this is called. No, that's the one later, isn't it? Short left-hander, followed by another left-hander, straight into a right-hander again, and accelerating out into now what is the Mercedes section, sector 3. First of all, starts up with this fast right-hander. You need some good turning and some good understeer in order to make sure that you make the most out of that corner, then heading into this left banked section. Modulating the throttle as much as you can, accelerating out, making sure not to straddle over those curbs, those are dangerous. And they come around to the final part of this lap now, a double right-hander. Once again, you need to modulate the throttle well in order to do well around here. And we'll see what Cameron Brewster can do in his Cosmo car. He goes P4, which is a decent effort from the Englishman. But currently on pole position is a relatively newcomer to GPWC, Marius Nicolai for Drag Racing VBM, filling in for Ben Horrell today. We first saw him actually at the 24 Hours of Le Mans driving for one of the Drag Racing cars. And he's shown some good pace as Marius, actually. He's just 600ths ahead of Boyd Bryson, actually, who we also saw in the 24 Hours of Le Mans with Enterprise GP. Joined from Racing Team Schroten here, and Mike Schroten currently running out the top 3 on a 41.5. We have been seeing much stronger times than that, though. I believe the fastest time was, what, a 40.7 from Harley Hamnet in free practice, so plenty more opportunities, or plenty more time to be found. Let's see who else is out on track. Eric Strana, here's someone to look out for. The Swede is rather dominating proceedings in the WSS pole camp. The current pole sitters of this season have been Heesterbeek, Tolborg, Hamnet, and Strana. And Strana has actually taken 3 pole positions this year. He took pole position last time out in the UK. He took pole position in Monaco. And let's see, where else did he take pole position? I think it was either Canada or the round after that in Austria. And Austria does ring a bell, actually. Thankfully, I've got the wiki open here to have a quick look for you. And indeed, it was Austria. So, actually, to be fair, Strana is on a little consecutive run of pole positions. Been on 2 so far. Can he get his 3rd in a row and 4th of the season? Judging by his early pace, maybe not, because he wasn't looking as strong as he usually does, and, well, practicing for the 24 Hours of Le Mans would have definitely contributed for that. Nevertheless, Strana takes pole by almost a full second, 8/10, and I was absolutely right. It's not a 40.7, which is the fastest time. It was a 39.7. My apologies. So, Strana, the first person to dip into those 40s, and we'll be seeing a couple more of them as the event, or as qualifying continues, I would imagine. Let's see who else is going out. Siggy's just leaving the pit lane. There's Tobias Olsen there on his debut for Enterprise GP. Goes into P3. 141.4, so that's the fourth 141.4 we've had in this session so far. Very close stuff between everyone so far, but here's someone that we need to keep an eye on. Championship leader Jesper Tolborg is just about to head into Sector 3 now. He comes into this event with 45 kilograms of weight ballast, does the Dane, and one of the most remarkable things this season is that he leads the championship by 11 points, yes, but he has not won a single race this season, and he is threatening to not win a single race this season either at this rate with the weight he's carrying. Let's see as he goes around the final corner. See Agustin Canapino now driving for Midnight Motorsport in an interesting switch. Slots into P2 behind Strana. Where does Torborg go? Torborg deposes Canapino from P2, a 140.8 essentially from the Dane. Very, very impressive time considering that he had all 45 kilograms of weight ballast on him. A really good time. Fran Lopez now is going to be the next person, the next major runner probably to go on a lap. He is starting his hot lap now. The Spaniard currently sitting in P7 in the championship on 82 points. Fairway off the Drivers' Championship contenders, that's for sure, but he still has an important part to play in the Teams' Championship. Smile Power Racing are leading on 237 there, with Adonis Engineering 26 points behind on 211. And then you have to go a further 17 points back to find Ice Cold. So they're still in it. You know, it's going to be quite an effort to depose the Smile Boys, as Torborg and Junt currently occupy 1 and 2 in the Drivers' Championship. But Fran Lopez is looking to put on a good show here. He's threatened to take pole positions before, and he's taken a race win this season, don't forget. And his home race at the Circuit de Catalunya earlier in the season, taking that remarkable reverse grid win. Very strong event that was for Lopez across all the events he took part in. But let's see what he can do in the German circuit of Hockenheim. He's in Sector 3 now, just entering the final section of track left to go. Again, I say, deceptively simple. You can get a lot of understeer through that penultimate corner. You can get a lot of understeer through the final corner, which he traverses nicely. Let's see where the young Spaniard ends up then. Pole position! By 0.06 of a second, Fran Lopez deposes Eric Strana from that pole position slot. Means that Strana will not be taking his 4th pole position of the season, won't be taking his 3rd consecutive pole position in a row. And I've said Lopez has threatened to take pole position before. Well, that is a statement if ever you want one. And there are a few drivers that are going to have a chance to take the challenge to Lopez. Let's see, next across the line I believe will be Kevin Siggy. The Austrian has been showing great form, and I think he's disconnected on his hot lap. Oh, Kevin. Oh, no, there he goes. Oh, he's back. My word, that was lag. And it's a good thing that he came back in as well. A 140.626 doesn't depose Lopez, but he does go P2. That was a scary moment for the Austrian. He just completely disappeared off the circuit. Oh, dearie me. Good qualifying now. But yeah, Harley Hamnet now driving full-time for Enterprise GP, replacing Agustin Canapino. He is... Well, he did, I should say, take the fastest time in open practice by 0.3 of a second. It was a very similar gap to what was found in Britain, but Harley did not capitalise on that in Britain, and he qualified P4, actually behind his teammate for that round, Rasmus Salo, though he did end up taking the race win. So his race pace, even if he doesn't qualify near the top, is not to be underestimated. He actually goes a little bit deep into the left banked section there. It's been looking quite neat and tidy so far, and he takes the penultimate corner really nicely. He takes the final corner really nicely as well. Good last section for Hamnet. Does that get him pole position though? No, it does not. It's P4 once again. A 140.692, and you may not see this at home, ladies and gentlemen, but I was telling you about how close it was in the 141.4s. There are 4 people on a 140.6 pole position all the way down to P4, separated by less than a tenth of a second. Honestly, small margins. Let's see what Ruud Heasterbeek can do now. P4 in the championship. Can he take his second pole position of the season? No, he can't. He comes in P5. 18 kilograms of weight ballast, potentially upsetting him there. Let's see who else can possibly depose him. Oh, Sven de Vries there. Sven de Vries, another 140.6. There's 5 people at the top from 1st to 5th, all separated by less than a tenth. And Sven de Vries misses out by the smallest of margins. Jordan Weeks isn't going to qualify. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's have a look at Hinz. Actually, let us have a look at Thomas Hinz, actually. SGP, more like SG gone. Only turned up for 1 round and rightfully gone from this competition. We'd like to welcome you to, and let's hope I don't get this name wrong, Tay4 Motorsport. Not making a very impressive debut, unfortunately, with Thomas Hinz. A new team, very dedicated, hopefully, run by Quinton Plain, and just looking to get a little step into GPVWC. And unfortunately, Thomas Hinz is probably going to be qualifying right down the bottom. In fact, he pits, not even bothering to finish his hot lap. But where did the other Tay4 qualify? Alexander van der Oud, P19. Not too bad at all on his debut, but there we go then. Fran Lopez takes pole position. Not Kevin Siggy, like what Chris Williamson believes it is. There we go, all sorted out. But there we go, Fran Lopez, pole position. I was saying that he was threatening to do that for a while now. And yes, Sven de Vries rightly saying, the top 5 all covered by less than a tenth of a second. Absolutely insane. The top 3 covered by 200ths of a second. It's close, and one must ask why, if Harley Hamnet shows all this good pace, it's all for nothing really if he can't convert it. And so he'll start from P5. Definitely not one to count out for the win. All of those top 5 really are not to be discounted for a win. So let me just note this down here. As Lopez becomes our 5th different pole sitter out of 7 races, 7 attempts. Can he win another race from pole position though? That's the question. As I say, all of those guys in that top 5 could easily win a race. I mean, you look at the guys behind them though, you've got the likes of Heasterbeek, Torborg, Canapino, Yuntu, second in the championship, qualifying P8. All of those guys are either race winners. In fact, the only person in the top 9 as it is... Yeah, the only person in the top 9 who isn't a race winner is Kevin Siggy. And he's shown great pace. He's taken a couple of podiums this season, so no reason for him to step up to the top step. And, well, what of the guys behind? Marius Nicolai, on debut for Drake Racing VBM, qualifies P10. Really impressive effort from, I believe, he's Italian. Hope I don't get that wrong. The likes of Paul Watkins, back in the fold of the top 15. He's been a bit quiet this season, but he has taken a 4th before. In Monaco, Tobias Olsen, the Swede, new here to the series. What can he do? Boyd Bryson has always looked like he's been there or thereabouts on pace. Never been able to convert it, though. Plenty to find out as we head into warm-up. Let's go through the penalties, shall we? I mean... It's actually surprising we have penalties. It's been relatively clean for the past couple of months across most series. WSS no less. And here's what we got. So we've got 3 people carrying a 5-place grid penalty. That includes Menno Clont, Matt Richards, and Jordan Weeks. That's probably why Jordan didn't even qualify. Richards, I think, was in the midfield. Indeed, it says here he's P14. I think that's going to be P15. Oh no, Lopez is back in. Okay, so there we go. Richard starts 21st. and Clont will start even lower, I'd imagine. Oh no, he starts the position behind, as it happens. So those two, I should say, and Weeks included, are going to be having to battle through the order in order to get anywhere near the points. And the other person who has a penalty is Riku Sarpia from Zurich, who has a 10-place grid penalty, but I don't think he's here today. No, indeed, it's Mike Schroten filling in for Sarpia. So Sarpia's penalty will move on to the next round, which I shall duly note here, so I don't forget. Next round, which of course is Hungary. Unlike what I said 2 weeks ago, I thought it was the Hungarian Sports Series next, and that's what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you have interviewees coming in and distracting you from your outro. You lose track of everything, and so we've got Hockenheim here, we go to Hungary next in 2 weeks, and then we have, I think it's a 6-week break, our regular July break here at GPVWC, before we return to Monza? Monza's the final round, I think it is. Belgium, yes, so Monza's the final round, Belgium round 9, so we'll only have 2 more rounds after our break. But I tell you what, one interesting thing about the break which I find is that you do, unless you're doing stuff elsewhere, you do kind of fall out of race practice. And so it'll be interesting to see how the different drivers react to that 6-week break and how they return and how those final 2 rounds do end up, because at current rate we are still going to have a championship battle by the final round unless Torborg, Jan de Vries, Heasterbeek, whoever can step up to the plate has an amazing final few rounds and can knock it out of the park. So let's go through the standings actually. The drivers, led by the aforementioned Jesper Torborg on 124, followed by his teammate in second place, David Junt on 113. Then it's Sven de Vries leading his teammate, Ruud Heasterbeek, on 106 and 105 respectively. So Smile and Adonis Engineering really just dominating that top 4 cadre and really showing why they are the top of the standings. Then Mike Bell, surprisingly good season in P5. He's taken a race win, and unfortunately it looks like he's a bit far down the order today, but always in with a chance of good reverse grid points due to his defending ability. Eric Strana, after the whole RF scan kerfuffle in Canada, is now P6, where he should be really, on 87 points. Then we have Fran Lopez on pole position, P7 in the championship on 82. Harley Hamnet and Augustin Canapino both on 75, and Cameron Brewster only 1 point behind on 74. A very good season for the Englishman with Cosmo. And then of course we have the battle, all the battles down the order for what is turning out to be an equally close Drivers' Championship. The top 3, and I would say it's going to be between these 3 for the Team's Championship. Smile, Adonis Engineering and Ice Cold, we've already been through their points differences. In 4th, on 156 is Enterprise GP. They're closely followed by Midnight Motorsport on 147. Going to be very interesting to see how the battle between those 2 ends up, because both have got a very fast driver in Canapino and Hamnet, and the other maybe an on and off driver, with Richards being at Midnight, Olsen a debutant no less, and OSS being Enterprise, and Allington, I'm not sure whether Allington's coming back actually, so maybe Olsen for the rest of the season. Then TMO, kind of a lukewarm season for them so far on 123, Waters on 118, and then going down the order quickly, it'll be Mazurek, Cosmo and Drager in a battle, Aurora, Lusitania, Triple 20, they're all in a battle, and there's a long way back to TWR and MSF on 19, they're in battle with Woods, then Racing Team Stroke and TTF, and then the 2 non-scorers so far are Deltec and Tayfor, with SGP just being a hindrance to the championship free, no need to beat around the bush. So, who's going to win this race? I have no idea. Why don't you share your thoughts with me throughout Twitter, though? We are trialling, and we're apparently having success with Twitter interaction through the @GPVWC live account. So, if you're interested on messaging me your thoughts about race 1, who you thought was going to win race 1, perhaps who you think is going to win any of the championships, and when we get to it with the reverse grid race of 15 to 20 for race 2, maybe who you think is going to win race 2. And if you have any questions for any of the drivers for the interviews after, feel free to submit that as well. Feel free to submit anything. I'll even take cake if you have it. So that's at GPVWC Live or hashtag GPVWC if you want to get interactive up in this place. Because we're kicking it with the cool kids now. So, whoa, that's good. We've just had Fran back into the server, and I believe we're just waiting on Tobias Olsen, who's been having game crashes actually throughout free practice and qualifying. So it'll take a bit of luck for him to get through the race, which is 15 laps. Let's hope he does make it. I mean, disconnection's the worst thing to go through in these sorts of situations, because you never feel like you've done as well as you could have done. Same with being spun, really, but disconnection is more it being completely taken out of your hands rather than being nervous and just letting someone through or losing it yourself even. At least you can recover the positions. So, just about to move into the race now. If you've got some World Cup to watch, stick it on the background. This is going to be much more interesting, I promise you. This Germany is 10 times better. There we go then. Nice and dry weather for us here today. No rain in sight. And everyone just saying good luck to each other. And we'll wait for the drivers to come out onto the grid. 20 seconds left. Nice, very field at the front. Ice cold looking in a good position, must be said. Being P1 and P4 with Lopez and Strano. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that Lopez has outqualified his teammate this season. Is that a sign? We shall find out as Fran Lopez, the young 14-year-old Spaniard, leads us off on pole position. A race winner in Spain. Can he do it here again at Hockenheim? Kevin Siggy, very impressive P2 for the resurgent Waters Automotive team. The only non-race winner in the top 9. Oh, actually, no, sorry, only one of 2 non-race winners in the top 9. Can he break that spell today? He's only in with a good chance of it. Sven de Vries, P3 in the championship, is P3. And he carries 27 kilograms of weight ballast as well. Then it's Eric Strana, 3 times pole sitter, 2 times race winner. Can he equal David Junt's 3 race wins of the season in P4? Harley Hamnett has had 1 pole position and 1 race win this season. Can he take another race win in P5? It's then Ruud Heesterbeek, P6, carrying 18 kilograms of weight ballast. He's also won a race this season with 1 pole position. Then championship leader Jesper Tolborg with 45 kilograms of weight ballast. Did incredibly well to get up into P7. The question is, can he keep it there? He hasn't taken a single race win this season, very much like Siggy. Then it's Agustin Canapino, now driving for Midnight Motorsport, replacing Lewis Redshaw. He's not taken... Actually, no, he's not taken a race win either. My apologies, so it's 3 in the top 9. Neither is he taking a pole position. Got a lot to prove here for his new team. And then it's David Junt, P2 in the championship with 36 kilograms of weight ballast. He usually thrives in the reverse grid races though. So one to watch throughout this evening. And rounding out the top 10 is Marius Nicolai in the drag racing, who's not left pit lane. Oh dear. That then promotes Paul Watkins into the top 10. I believe that's his first top 10 appearance this season, so good for him. We have Tobias Olsen for EGP in 12th, making his debut. Boyd Bryson, P13 for RTS. Mike Schroten, P14 for Mazurek, with Benedict Sinkevicius, P15 for Waters. Mike Bell, P16 for Mazurek, with Cameron Brewster, P17 for Cosmo. Alexander van der Waals, taking his debut in the Tay4 Motorsport outfit, P18, with Bart DeVos, P19 in Triple 20. His teammate Ilya Bracalo, rounding out the top 20. Matt Richards starts P21 for Midnight with Menno Klontz P22 for Lusitania. Matt Richards almost rear-ending Menno Klont there. The 2 of them receiving 5-place grid penalties, with Rob Mason P23 for Cosmo. Paul Joseph is P24 for TWR with Morten Verneson. P25 for Drake, very disappointing for him considering his good recent form. Martin Palm joins us in P26 for Torrance, with Terence Gretsch off the track in P27 for Lusitania, making his debut. Quinton Plains, P28 for TTF Racing, with Demetrius Humanis, P29 for Deltec. Tyron Frith is 30th for TTF, with Ken Hunter rounding out this little inter-team battle in 31st for Deltec. 32nd is Racing Team Schroten's William Tringus, with 33 Thomas Hinz for Tay4. We then have Simon Melhus rounding out the grid as always, with Motorsport Safety Foundation in 34th. Pavel Loknowski P35 Woods, and Jordan Weeks rounding out the grid P36 for Torrance, starting from the back with a 5-place grid penalty. I should really do the grid a lot quicker next time. We have now 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lights here at the Hockenheim. We're racing and Fran Lopez, oh, he gets an awful start off the line, as does Kevin Siggy, but all the madness has meant that leading into turn 1 is Kevin Siggy. Oh, but Fran Lopez around the outside, and that's a legitimate move as well. He was able to stay on the inside. Great stuff from Fran Lopez, just about holding the lead. But I tell you what, it's going to be manic going down to turn 2. It's Kevin Siggy. Oh, it's a little bit of contact with Strana. 3 to 1's not going to go through there, surely. Eric Strana threading the needle much. Goes into P2. Great move from the Swede. Though Kevin Siggy's not going to end up that easily undone. He actually retakes second around the outside here. The two Adonises battling behind him. Ruud Heespeak's had a great start to get ahead of Harley Hamlin now. Going down into the hairpin. Let's see whether Strana makes another move on Siggy. No, he doesn't. In fact, oh my word, Siggy almost rear-ending as, oh, lots of things happening. Agustin Canapino almost around the outside of Harley Hamlin. Indeed, does go around the outside of Harley Hamlin. Great move there. Torborg 8 battling with Paul Watkins, who's had a cracker of a start, actually. And is Paul Watkins? No, he backs out of it. Stays in P9. David Jump P10. Mike Strome P11. Great stuff there. Mike Bell P12. And battling out with Tobias Olsen with, is that Cameron Brewster there? Yes, it is P14. Boyd Bryson into P15. Back up at the front, though. Lopez leads by a solid 5/10 gap from Siggy, who's been able to hold off the early advances of Eric Strana. For how long, though? Fran Lopez looks much more comfortable than the Austrian behind him. Is then Sven de Vries, Heasterbeek and Canapino, Hamnet, Torborg and Watkins. Close battles going out through the group so far. Paul Watkins, great to see him up in 9th. Really nice stuff, and after a manic first lap, no disconnections so far, no DNFs so far. And it's going to be Lopez then, who leads lap 1 onto lap 2 from Siggy, Strana, De Vries, Heasterbeek, Canapino, Torborg, Watkins, and David Junt rounding out the top 10, though under heavy attack from Mike Schroten, who's almost four-wheel drifting it round turn 1. Goodness me, the Dutchman giant for his own team, replacing Sarpia. Potentially a very good move as he's all over the back of David Junt here. As we head into turn 2, Mike got close behind as well. Oh, Lopez! Oh, what happened to Lopez? Is that just a timing glitch? It is just a timing glitch. Goodness me, I was worried there. Thought he'd been spun. But yeah, behind. Oh, no. I'm just getting confused because Lopez isn't up there. But it seems to me that Siggy's been able to reel in a bit actually on Lopez. And oh, wow, taking chunks out of him through the hairpin. I told you that was going to be a crucial moment. And Tobias Olsen's round. I noticed there at the hairpin. And he's been having consistency issues as the Swede. And not exactly making a good name for himself here is, oh yeah, Siggy and Strana right up the rear end of Fran Lopez. That early advantage eaten away, and there's certainly something to be said for cracking under pressure. It can happen in the middle of the field, and it can happen at the front of the field as well. And the battle for the lead is certainly not done and dusted here, as behind we have the two Adonai of De Vries and Heasterbeek now battling out with Canapino in P6. Harley Hamlet's all on his own really in P7. Bit muted. Oh, it's all for the lead. Kevin Siggy up the inside of the penultimate corner, and he's got it. Well, we said that Fran Lopez was dropping away, and oh, onto the grass as well. Oh dear, so Kevin Siggy then moves into the lead of this race for Waters Automotive on lap 3 of 15. Fran Lopez, though, he's not going to let that go that easily. Tucking up right behind Kevin Siggy and looking to the outside of turn 2. He's ahead going into the braking zone. Oh my word. Has he done it? Yes, he has. Great move. And now there goes Eric Strana up the inside of Kevin Siggy as well. He's going to try and use the slipstream of his teammate to take advantage. And oh, Fran Lopez has been a bit oh, this isn't going to end well. Eric Strana almost pushing Fran Lopez around. And so there we go. It's ice cold 1-2. Heading into the hairpin. Here goes Siggy down the inside. And oh no! Oh, that was, oh dear. Who was that? Sven de Vries. Madness. Absolute madness. He just lost it completely under braking. And Strana, the innocent party there. Where's Siggy gone as well? Oh, Siggy. Oh, completely unfair. Completely unfair. And so Lopez now leads from Heasterbeek. De Vries. Harley Hamnet was able to really capitalise on that. But Agustin Canapino has been able to retake it. So Canapino up into 4th. Hamnet 5th. Jesper Torborg just by staying out of trouble in P6. And apparently there was a touch between Canapino and De Vries. So potentially Canapino at fault. Oh dear. One wonders what politics might be going on there, but there, let's see, Strana down in P7, missing a bumper, and then the heavy attack from David Junt, Paul Watkins 9th, and Kevin Siggy all the way down to P10. Then it's Bell, Schroten, Richards, Van der Woude in P14 for Tafor. Go, Mr. Dutchman. Excellent effort so far. And oh, where has Olsen dropped to? Deary me. Into the pits for Enterprise GP. Awful start for the Swede, but great start for the Dutchman. Right, Junt on Strana now. And so, what's that going? Oh, Canapino, sorry. Around the outside of Sven de Vries for P3, and here goes Harley Hamnet as well. Sven de Vries missing that front bumper is going to be, unfortunately, a bit susceptible to issues here now. And if there was contact between de Vries and Canapino, I wonder whether de Vries is going to have a go. Oh, 3 wide into 1 hairpin. Does not go well. Harley Hamnet, he overtakes de Vries. And, oh, pushed out wide by Canapino. Is he going to get a better exit than de Vries? I fear he may, as Junt here, still trying to overtake Strana. Doesn't get it done. But Harley Hamnet around the outside. Oh, Sven de Vries does it nicely. So de Vries now shuffled down to P5. And, oh, that was a bit poor from de Vries. Goodness me. Learned that you've not got a front bumper, mate. It's not going to do you any good by battling into the back of people. And now Jesper Torborg, even with that 45 kilograms of weight penalty, is right up onto the back of this battle now. And oh, you can see how much Sven de Vries is struggling through that right-hander there. Terminal damage when it comes to understeer, losing your front bumper. Absolutely terminal. And Jesper Torborg, I'm sure, will be able to overtake de Vries in no time at all. Behind, Strana has been able to escape Davy Junt, amazingly. So making that front bumper loss work for him. Paul Watkins 9th, Kevin Siggy still 10th, and then the two Mazuriks of Bell and Schroten 11 and 12. Schroten Richards 13th, Van der Woude still 14th, and Bryson rounding out your point scorers in P15. So then, after that manic lap there, it seems to me that this has gone down to a 2-horse race now between Fran Lopez and Ruud Easterbeek. The two currently separated by 0.4 of a second. The last timing split going down the hairpin on lap 5 of 15, a third through this race already. Canapino there, P3 is going to be battling with Harley Hamnet, and although these two are fast, I think they've been a bit too quiet to say that they can battle for the leaders. Oh, Canapino goes desperately wide there, and Harley Hamnet's going to say thank you very much. A little love nudge out onto the curbing for Canapino. And Harley Hamnet goes into the podium position as Mike Schroten loses a position to the other Midnight. And Matt Richards down in P12 and P13. So Hamnet now onto the podium. Canapino down to 4th. And oh, a bit of contact between de Vries and Torborg, I think. Going through that corner as well as, oh, Torborg around the outside comes Strana! Oh, lovely stuff from Eric Strana. Great. Around the outside, really opportunistic move, making that lack of rear wing. Oh, sorry, Ruud and Lopez. Easterbeek and Lopez for the lead. Ruud is right on the back of Fran Lopez here, and Easterbeek, who currently sits P4 in the championship, he may have 18 kilograms of weight ballast, but it doesn't seem like that's going to affect him too much. Fran Lopez going wide once again, and oh, Easterbeek all over the back of the Spaniard. As we head into turn 1, Easterbeek very much single file through there unless you are fully alongside the person who you want to go as always. Hamnet, fastest lap of the race. So perhaps only muted because he was held behind. And I tell you what, Fran and Ruud battling is not going to happen. Torborg, what? Oh, there we go. Torborg's back past Strana. But I think that Strana's going to get past Torborg once again. These two battling out massively. And despite that lack of front bumper, Strana doing a heavily impressive job. Retakes P6 in the ice cold. As into the hairpin we go with Lopez and Easterbeek. The gap between, actually, Easterbeek and Hamnet has come down to 1 second. As always, a lot of change in there. Who's that? Oh, it's Matt Richards, I think. Matt Richards falling down the order. And so Kevin Siggy up to 8th. David Junt now up to 9th. Bell up to 10th. Watkins still there in 11th, though he's held up. Schroten 12th. Van der Woude P13 for Tafor. Grace up weeks from the back of the grid in P14. Lovely job from the Englishman. And then Bryson P15. And now Matt Richards, the latest person to succumb to a lack of rear wing. A couple of retirements now to tell you of. Tobias Olsen gone with an engine blowout, and Dimitris Soumanis gone after as well. So 2 retirements already. Certainly the front runners will be hoping not to retire. It's been a bit of a clumsy race so far, but I tell you what, Harley Hamnet is it's strange. Once he'd been let go by third, Agustin Canapino, all of a sudden the pace has been turned on. And is within a second of Ruud Heasterbeek, as I see Alexander van der Waal now up into 12th. Who lost that there? Oh, it was Stroeten. Stroeten falling down the order. He's come in to replace a missing front bumper, or it was a drive-through, sorry. As Ruud, oh no, that's just Lopez's. Lopez losing his timing once again, but he's been able to pull away clear of Ruud Heasterbeek actually, so there must have been a bit of battling, meaning that these 3 have got separated. But yeah, Hamnet certainly looking to close back up onto the back of it. Oh, look at this. Look how much time he gains through that hairpin. And mind you, look how much time Ruud's gaining on Lopez as well. I think this battle for the lead is going to be lasting all race at this rate. Because these 3 are, well, you've got Lopez, amazingly enough, despite the fact that Heasterbeek has got weight penalty, and despite the fact that Hamnet's been looking pretty quiet for this race, I think Lopez is looking the slowest of the 3 drivers at the moment. Indeed, the top 3 can be separated by 0.7 of a second. Agustin Canapino, 1.6 off the lead now. And desperately trying to cut that right-hander as well to try and catch up. Eric Strana up into 5th and past Sven de Vries. I tell you what, the Swede knows how to make that car work without a front bumper. And working very well is the Swede to try and get back up into, or as close to the podium positions as possible. Sven de Vries P6. Siggy P7, Torborg P8, Junt P9, and Mike Bell ran out P10, with Watkins, Weeks, Van der Wilder, Bryson, and Richards rounding out your point scorers once again. As we go back to the battle for the lead, Lopez goes out slightly wide of turn 1. And behind him, Ruud Heasterbeek. Close, but not close enough, and oh, well, that was a little bit of contact from Harley Hamnet, I reckon, through that corner on Ruud Heasterbeek. And I think perhaps that Harley Hamnet is going to be shaping up a move here, because he certainly looked to get a better exit. Indeed, here he goes on the inside. Not exactly the pace you want to be. Ruud Heasterbeek, he's ahead on the straightest, Hamnet. Can he outbrake him and take him around the outside of the hairpin? It's going to be a difficult move for the Australian. And, oh, a little bit of a tank slapper as well, but he can't do it. And that's allowed Agustin Canapino now to catch back up to Harley Hamnet. But Hamnet is certainly looking faster than Heasterbeek. That is for sure. The 18 kilograms making a difference as Agustin Canapino tries to catch back up and try and outbrake Harley Hamnet, but he can't do anything so far. Oh, and Harley Hamnet, almost. That's dangerous curbing out there. Dangerous curbing, and the battling between Heasterbeek and Hamnet has allowed Lopez to reopen the gap at the front to 0.6 of a second. Reckon it's going to be very nip and tuck here. As, oh, Canapino looks for a little dive on Hamnet, but can't get it done. Amazingly enough, we're going to be going on to lap 9 of 15. We're already over halfway through this race. And, oh, what's happened to Van der Wilder? He's lost out to Bryson, that's what happened. So Tafor still in the points, thankfully. I'm hoping they get to the end in the points as well, because Van der Wilder has been doing very well so far. As we head into turn 1 once again, with the top 4. Heasterbeek looking susceptible to an attack here. Looking very susceptible as Hamnet there on the outside. But I think Heasterbeek is well aware to win. Hamnet is going to have to do something pretty amazing. He has done something pretty amazing. Clean around the outside of Heasterbeek. And into P2 the Australian goes. But the problem with taking someone around the outside there is that you are susceptible to an attack down into the hairpin. And Hamnet is going to have to defend for his life. Heasterbeek breaks late. And that should be P2 retaken, I imagine. Yep, it is. Heasterbeek, nice move. Back into P2. Hamnet just about alongside his rear end. And they have got to be careful, because Agustin Canapino is ready to pounce. Indeed, Harley Hamnet going extra defensive to try and fend off the Argentine here. Yeah, he's escorting the Argentine out to the outside of him now. Oh, a little bit of a tank slapper as well. Here comes Agustin Canapino then. Can he get him up the inside? No, he can't. But very close battling. And Hamlet's got to be careful here. He's got to judge his next move carefully. Because he doesn't want to lose out on the podium. Neither does he want to let second get away with him. And that's a that's an attainable target for the Australian, that's for sure. All this, though, allowing Lopez to further extend his lead. We're going to cross the line now to head onto lap 10 of 15. The gap was 1.2. It stays at 1.2. The point in matter is that he's going to stay ahead for the moment. And now, I noticed Kevin Siggy into P6. Sven de Vries creating a little bit of a train now in P7. He's decided to bear it out with the lack of front bumper. But Jesper Torborg wants blood. He wants more points than just the 8 he's occupying at the moment. So does David Junt. And into turn 2 we go. And that should be Torborg's. And it is indeed Torborg. So the Dane up into P6. Now, that said, De Vries, I think, isn't going to let this one go. And the lack of front bumper means lack of front downforce, which means no, there's just a little bit of switching there, which means that obviously De Vries is going to stay ahead, or is he? Torborg around the outside. And, oh, they're still side by side on the exit of the hairpin. De Vries, stubborn as ever. And he's going to keep that position. Meanwhile, my cameraman does correctly bring me back up to the battle for second. Ruud Heestebeek was under heavy attack from Hamnet. But he can't do anything, can Hamnet. I think his problem here is that he's trying to take Ruud around turn 2. And what that's doing is that's essentially leaving the... get your words right, James. That's leaving the gap open for Ruud Heestebeek to just go straight back through with a hairpin. And then Hamnet's just forced to stay behind for another lap. And once again, all of this just benefiting Lopez bundles. The gap now up to 1.4 as the top 4 round the final corner once again. We'll be heading on to lap 11 of 15. The gap was 1.4. It's now 1.2 actually. So Ruud Heestebeek starting to catch up again. But it must be said, all Lopez has to do is keep it in a straight line. Well, he has to go around the corners obviously, but he needs to keep a relatively good pace up. And he will stay ahead because these 3 are all squabbling behind him. That said, Harley Hamnet not looking for a move into turn 2 this time. Could this yet benefit the Australian? We'll find out now as we head onto the long left-hand straight, as I like to call it. It is a long curve. I should really call it that, but it is a straight as well, because you can slipstream down it. That Hamnet nowhere near close enough though. Perhaps saving himself? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It seems like it's going to be a difficult task for neither Hamnet nor Canapino, let's not forget, to try and get on to second place here. Because Ruud Heestebeek being as stubborn as his teammates. Oh, here we go, Harley Hamnet! Bit of a dive! And it was too much of a dive. Heestebeek goes back through. And Hamnet starting to change it up now, trying to find if there's another way through the Dutchman. But he's going to have a better effort in the bag than that. Because Heestebeek is well aware to his tricks and is well experienced enough a driver to know that if he's going to dive like that, he can get the cutback any day he likes. Let's see. Good shout. Good shout from Mr. Cameron Dave Cosmith. Oh, Jordan Weeks! Jordan Weeks from the back of the grid. He's into the top 10. He's into P9 as well. And if he continues this good form, he's going to be through on P8 because Sven de Vries is still struggling. What an excellent effort from Jordan Weeks. Where's his teammate Martin Palm? Palm's all the way down in P22. So, wow, Jordan Weeks slicing his way through this field. Goodness me. Great effort. Really showing what caliber of a driver he is when he puts his mind to it, is Jordan. And can he get him around the outside? I see Kevin Siggy takes Eric Strana. For P5, Jordan Weeks around the outside of Sven de Vries. Oh, my word, that was close. Sven de Vries just about holding on for now. But yet, Siggy in battle with Strana still actually. I think Strana might be able to retake P5 here into the hairpin. It's going to be last of the late breakers. And oh, Siggy trying to turn on Strana. They're still side by side, but Strana holds on to 5th. Good defending from the Swede, despite his apparent lack. Well, indeed, his it is an apparent lack of front downforce. So Siggy right up behind him, and It's escorted out to the outside now. He tries to get the cut back, but Eric Strana able to get good enough power on, and contact between the two. And Siggy's going to find it hard done by to get by Strana as well. A lot of good defending today from a lot of drivers. Really good defending. Putting their mind to it. So we're actually, with Fran Lopez here, we're going to be rounding the final corner, or is it penultimate corner? Penultimate corner here. And now the final corner once again. We're going to be heading onto lap 13 of 15. 3 from the end. The gap between him and Heasterbeek now back down to 7 tenths. Heasterbeek and Hamnet and Canapino not battling each other. Starting to work together. And I wonder whether these three can now begin to reel in Lopez once again to have one final lunge for the lead. Those four occupied the top four, with Eric Strana P5, Siggy P6, Torborg 7th, De Vries still in P8 holding off Weeks. David Junt is P10 with Bell 11th, Watkins in 12th, Bryson 13th, Van der Wilde 14th, and Morten Verneson currently rounding out P15 as Eric Strana switches positions with Kevin Siggy, once again, but look at that. Eric Strana flies past Kevin Siggy. And I'll tell you what, Kevin Siggy is going to have to do something pretty bold, which he does. Brakes very late for the hairpin. Wonderfully placed on the apex as well. Lovely move from the Austrian. And one can only wonder what would have happened had Canapino and De Vries not had contact earlier in the race, because these two were innocent victims there. And Strana bashes wide Siggy, and he's surely got to let him back past. He's not. That was rude. That was very rude. And what this has allowed is not Eric Strana, yes, but Torborg to catch up onto the back of this battle as well. So Torborg, our championship leader, could yet still be in for more points here. It's Kevin Siggy around the outside of the left banking. Very dangerous place to lay it out to rest, because I tell you what, Torborg will take any gap he'll get at this rate. All he needs to do is keep on scoring consistently high points, and he will stay in that championship lead. And round the final corner we go. Let's see whether Kevin Siggy can't do anything into turn 1. It's going to take an incredibly good move to get something done. He pulls out, but he can't do anything. And I reckon these two will just keep on scrapping for 5 and 6 for a long while. What a great exit from turn 1 that was for Kevin Siggy. Right along the insides, we have another retirement in the form of Ken Hunter. So both Deltecs out. Meanwhile, Kevin Siggy does take Eric Strana once again for P5, though. Eric Strana trying to say that, he's got that all wrong, and now he's got Jesper Torborg to pass him as well. And Harley Hamnet, I noticed, going for second place here into the hairpin. Has he got a good exit? I wonder. He's right alongside Ruud Heasterbeek, and if he's able to hold it around the outside of this right-hander, he may very well have second. He's trying so hard. He's going to have to brake late into this corner. Ruud Heasterbeek, just about keeps it. Great defending from the Dutchman. Really good stuff. This is the penultimate lap, though. So if Harley Hamnet wants to do something, he's going to have to do something soon. And there's Augustin Canapino now as well, looking to strike where possible. Oh, my word. Harley Hamnet almost losing it through there. Now Augustin Canapino having a look on the outside of Hamnet. Into left banking we go. I think Fran Lopez, as long as he doesn't bin it, this win is as good as his. His second race win of the season it would be. The last time he won so was in Spain, the reverse grid race. The main battle we're looking at now is a battle for the podium. And indeed reverse grid weight as well. Can be all crucial. Heading into turn 1. The gap between Heasterbeek and Lopez, by the way, 1.1 seconds. As I say, likely going to need Lopez to bin it in order to see a different race winner. Heading into turn 2 we go. Hamnet and Canapino taking decidedly better lines through them than Heasterbeek. Decidedly better. But the question is, can they strike into the hairpin? I think, this is the best overtaking spot. Let's see what Hamnet can do. He's going to the outside once again, potentially to get the cutback, I wonder. He does go around the outside of Heasterbeek. But once again, Heasterbeek placing it wonderfully on the apex. this has been a masterclass in defensive driving from Heasterbeek, really has. And now here comes Canapino on the outside of Hamnet, as Hamnet on the inside of Heasterbeek. Heasterbeek trying to hold on. Oh, Hamnet going to try around the outside of here. That's going to be brave. Oh, here goes Canapino. Canapino, that was a great move straight through there. And oh, Canapino now on Heasterbeek. Oh my word, and here comes Hamnet. Hamnet's going to take advantage. Oh, wonderful stuff. Great battling for the podium. And oh, Canapino is going to try and hold on here, but I think Hamnet should have this. He's forced out wide. And oh my word, there's going to be contact. Hamnet on the inside. Oh, wonderfully taken back from Hamnet. Canapino on the outside. As here we go. Fran Lopez takes his second race win of the year. Great stuff there, of the season, sorry. Heasterbeek second. Hamnet third, Canapino fourth. Wonderful battle on the last lap there between those three. Kevin Siggy will come home to take P5, Torborg P6. So Sven de Vries has been off somewhere. Strana P7, Weeks P8, De Vries P9, Bell P10, Junt P11, Watkins P12, Bryson P13. Van der Woude scoring points for T4 on debut in 14th. Excellent effort from the Dutchman there. Morten Wernersen, after a pretty shoddy qualifying, coming back to score points for Drake. And now we can tell you who your reverse grid candidates are. They include Wernersen. We also have Brewster, who's usually a threat in reverse grid races. Richards, who's shown promise from time to time, but had a bit of a clumsy nightmare here. Clont for Lusitania. Bracalo for Triple 20. And Rob Mason, Brewster's teammate, though... Victor Silva isn't here today, but knowing him, he probably will still get pole position anyway. Your retirements were Tobias Olsen, Dimitris Shumanis, Ken Hunter, and Simon Melhuish. So Melhuish finished ahead of Paul Joseph, who was a lap down. So goodness me. Another excellent battle from everyone there. Wonderful stuff. Really good fun. The battle for the podium as well. Awesome. So let's see, actually, whether we've had any notifications in. And we have. Lovely. So, Jose Quinas Geronim, welcome to you, says, who will be the two winners tonight at Hockenheim? Well, you've already seen Fran Lopez took his second race win of the season in race 1. As for race 2, we'll have to wait and see who's on reverse grid pole. And a little bit of a Bowser blunder. Cameron Brewster saying just before the race, nothing quite like sending your setup to the whole lobby before qualifying. No, there isn't, Cam. But at least you're in the reverse grid pole position slots. So, let's see whether the hashtag of GPVWC has been used at all. I hope it has. It's a great hashtag. You should use it more often. All. No. Keep those questions coming in, people. It is lovely to see you all, and lovely to see all of you, or have as many of you tuning in as possible. So we're just going to reload the server now to restart warm-up, and we shall see whether or not we have an interesting reverse grid pole sitter, because the likes of Wernersen, Brewster, Richards, all podium sitters. Pardon me. And all of them could very well, if they have a bit of luck, win a race as well, I can imagine. So let's have a look here then. Just going to wait for all the cars to load in so that I don't end up having a computer crash or anything, because that'd be disastrous, wouldn't it? So while we're waiting for this, nice to see some new liveries in. Enterprise GP running a 1-year anniversary livery, running their old colours. Woods Racing are going to stick with their Le Mans Porsche livery because the drivers thought it looked better. Obviously, we've got T4 in, a brand new livery to look at there. And I think, actually, to be fair, that's it. Yeah. But anyway, let us get your reverse grid pole position, man. To remind you, the potential men are Wernersen, Brewster, Richards, Clont, Bracalo, and Mason. And your reverse grid pole sitter for round 7 at Hockenheim is number 16, Cameron Brewster. Starts from pole position, and with Morten Wernersen on the front row with him, I wouldn't be surprised if either of those people get a podium. because they have been there before. Unlucky for Richards, he was riding up there in the points, but that clumsy mistake costing him, unfortunately. And he has all the work to do it once again. Cameron Brewster blaming Dave, cameraman extraordinaire, for for his pole position. I'm afraid that's I'm guilty of that, Cam. Sorry. But yeah, Wernerson ending up really nicely out of this. Actually, he managed to score a point in race 1, in a very good position for race 2 as well. So, just to remind you of weight penalty then. Oh, is it Van der Welde's first points in GPVWC as well? Oh, wonderful. Congratulations, Alexander. Great stuff. Really good start for Tayfor. Always nice for an outfit to score points on debut. And for Van der Welde to be scoring his first points as well, it's great to see. Nice little story there. Yes, weight penalty. Fran Lopez has 20... Oh no, he's not got 25. He's got 45 kilograms of weight ballast. Ruud Heesterbeek has 36, so he comes into this race with more than he started in race 1. Then it's Hamnet with 27, Canapino with 18, and Siggy will have 9 kilograms of weight ballast. And I'm just trying to remember who our potential race winners... Mike Bell could be a threat, mind you. We'll have to wait and see when the grid comes up again. But yes... Let's talk Le Mans, shall we? Man. Le Mans was something, eh? Great event. All up on YouTube as well. Crazily enough. If you fancy watching all 24 hours of it, it's there. I joined in on the broadcast. Loads of other people did. There was battle for the lead. There was battles everywhere. Despite the fact that we only had 13 cars. Great event to watch. And if you're bored out of your mind, because there's no World Cup matches on, go watch some of that. That was great fun with Takeaway Bingo and Simon's Secret Squirrel 7, whatever that was. Ah, and yes, thank you very much, Mr. Dave. Should be noted, if you like IndyCar, then round 3 of the Masters might be for you. If you go onto the GPVWC forums, then you will notice in the Masters thread that we have sign-ups for the Indy 500. I believe it's going to be a similar format to the NASCAR event that we had as round 1, which was the Daytona 500. I got there eventually, but in IndyCars, and IndyCars are great. Yeah. You can design your own livery, get your own number while it's available, if it's available, and just come and have fun. I believe it's going to be an open qualifying, so the top 33 drivers at the moment will get to race. And it'll certainly be interesting to see who's there and who survives it, because we didn't have a very high finishing rate in the NASCAR. And open wheelers are much more delicate beasts as well. So, could be a fun one to watch. Jackson Went, good evening to you. Says he's disgusted with what happened to Kevin Siggy in the WSS race. You know, so was I. I think both him and Strana were cheated out of something there, and I mean, I didn't catch the incident between Canapino and De Vries myself, but knowing De Vries, he's not one to go steaming in like that. So I can only imagine it was contact from Canapino, in which... Oh. Alright, thank you very much, Dave. So apparently it was contact under braking. Whose fault that is? Sounds like a racing incident to me, so perhaps Strana and Siggy may not have anybody to blame in the first place. Which is the sad way that motorsport goes. Sometime it's always satisfying to point the finger at someone and see them get a penalty for their, grievous misuse of the racing track, but sometimes things like this happen, and I'm not sure whether De Vries or Canapino will be protesting. I don't know whether either of them will be getting a penalty for it, but unfortunately, I mean, Strana and Siggy, they didn't do that badly, did they? They came home 5th and 6th, so still good results, but who knows what could have been had that not happened to them. So we have just a little bit to go now before we enter race 2. Let's have a looky here. Is Fran back? I don't think Fran is back. Ah, talking of the devil, here comes Fran. Good thing to have our race 1 winner. Actually, to be fair, it must be said, across the season, we've not usually seen the winner from race 1 do so well in race 2. They've always been caught up in some sort of incident, which means they usually finish outside the top 5 or retire even. The 45 kilograms of weight ballast obviously doesn't help, but the midfield, it doesn't matter what series you race in, the midfield is a deadly, deadly adversary, and you can get caught up in so many things. We saw Olsen get caught up in something. I remember we saw Schroten get caught up in something as well throughout that race, and it caused them, it caused them troubles. As we move to the second race session, hard to believe that we've only got 3 more rounds after this, 6 races. Insane. The big question now here, though, is will we have a new race winner? Looking at the grid now. Oh, well, look who's in P6. David Yunt. And Mike Bell in P7, Sven de Vries P8, Weeks P9, Strana P10. I'm going to say David Yunt. I think we could very easily see him take his 4th race win of the season here. Well, hoping to stop him from pole position comes Cameron Brewster, who's had a very good season so far. Can he continue that? Love to see him on the podium once again for Cosmo Autosport. And there's Morten Wernersen, another podium sitter, P2 for Drag Racing VBM. Hopefully he can do something better from this higher elevated position. Then Tay4 Motorsport, here on debut, scoring points, and here on debut starting P3. They are already off the bottom of the table, and let's see whether they can go any further with Alexander van der Woude. Then it's Boyd Bryson, P4 for Racing Team Schroten. A dark horse is the South African. Perhaps one to watch out for. And then Paul Watkins scoring points in race 1. Possibly scoring more points in race 2 in P5. Then there's David Yunt, man with most race wins this season. Starting P6 for Smart Power with Mike Bell, P7 for Mazurek, also a race winner. Sven de Vries P8 for Adonis Engineering's P8, with John Weeks P9 for Torrent. Great race 1. Let's see whether we can use that same momentum to do well in race 2. And then it's Eric Strana rounding out our top 10 for Ice Cold. Jesper Torborg is P11 for Smile Power, still our championship leader, with Kevin Siggy, P12 for Waters Automotive and carrying 9 kilograms of weight ballast. Augustin Canapino's P13 with 18 kilograms of weight ballast for Midnight Motorsport, with Harley Hamnet P14 with 27 kilograms of weight ballast for Enterprise GP. Ruti Speak is P15 for Adonis Engineering with 36 kilograms of weight ballast, and Fran Lopez, Race 1's winner for Ice Cold Racing, is P16 with 45 kilograms of weight ballast. Matt Richards starts P17 for Midnight Motorsport, with Menno Klomp P18 for Lusitania. Ili Bracaro starts P19 for Triple 20, and rounding out the top 20 is Rob Mason for Cosmo Autosport. We then have Benedictus Sinkevicius P21 for Waters Automotive, with Mike Schroten P22 for Mazurek Racing. Marius Nikolai started from the pit lane after such a good qualifying. Let's see whether we can make any progress into the points in P23 for Drake Racing. Martin Palm starts P24 for Torrent, with William Tringus P25 for Racing Team Stroton. Thames Gretsch starts P26 for Lusitania Racing Team, with Pavel Loknoski P27 for Woods Racing. Then come the TTFs of Tyron Frith, ahead of Quinton Plain for P28 and P29 respectively. Valder Vos runs out the top 30 for Triple 20, and then we have Thomas Hinds P31 for Tay for Motorsports, Paul Joseph P32 for TWR, and rounding out the grid is Tobias Olsen for Enterprise GP. Done nice in time, Dave. That was a bit better, wasn't it? So, coming onto the grid now comes Cameron Brewster and Morten Wernersen. Both have scored a podium this season. Behind them, Alexander van der Woude, first points in race 1 in his GPVWC career, debut for Tay4 Motorsport. Behind him, Boyd Bryson, a dark horse for sure, Paul Watkins, ever present, and David Yunt, 3 race wins this season. Can he take a 4th? And what of Mike Bell? Can he get a good start? Can he start defending as well as he usually does? Lots of questions that have been asked. I think it's time to answer all of them. As the final people line up in their grid boxes, we look now to the lights. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And here, for the second time at Hockenheim, we're racing. That's a great start from Brewster. Awesome start from Brewster. Alexander van der Wilder bogs down a bit. Paul Watkins also had a fantastic start from P5. And so Brewster leads into turn 1 from Versen. Watkins goes wide. And David Junt, great start from him as well. Boyd Bryson's bogged down a bit into P9. And heading into turn 2 then, Cameron Brewster leads from Morten Versen. Paul Watkins third, and David Junt in battle with Alexander van der Wilder. He gets past van der Wilder, does Junt. And now straight onto the back of Paul Watkins is the smile driver for what is going to be P3 at the end of the day. Can he get the old man himself? We haven't said that too many times this season. He's been a bit quiet. Has Watkins into the hairpin we go. Should be an easy move for Junt. Oh, watch out for Bernison! Oh my word. That could have been trauma, and Paul Watkins doing well to avoid that. But Junt's right onto the back of Bernison already. Goodness me, the Switz is on a mission. Is he going to break late into this corner? I think he is. He's going to try and unsettle Bernison. Bernison holding on rather nicely though. And let's see here going through. I'll tell you what, this is giving Brewster such a big gap. 1.5 already. And we've not even completed a lap yet. Through the right-hander we go now. Canapino battling with van der Wilder, falling down the order now into the clutches of the fast people from race 1. And meanwhile, though, David Junt is into second. He's got past Vernison, and this is exactly what he wanted to do. It is now only up to Brewster to be able to keep Junt behind from winning his race, his 4th race of the season. But it is Brewster then who leads another lap in the Cosmo car. He leads by 1.4 seconds from Junt, Wernerson, Watkins, Bell, De Vries, Canapino, van der Wilder, Torborg. Torborg, though, I think just going to overtake van der Wilder into turn 1. Oh, they both go very wide. And oh, van der Wilder! Dearie me. He's in a bit of trouble now. He's in huge battle with Jordan Weeks and Eric Strah. And here comes Rude Heespeak up the inside as well. Oh, watch out, Alexander! Dearie me, parts flying everywhere. So it's Weeks 8, Torborg 9th, Strana 10th, Heespeak 11th, Van der Wilder shuffle down to P12, Richards 13th, Siggy 40th, and Harley Hamnet rounds out the top 15, fending off from Menno Klontz there. Heading into the hairpin we go now with Cameron Brewster. Behind, David Junt is not escaping the clutches of Vernison, that's for sure. As, oh, what's happened to Siggy? Oh, what has happened to Siggy? Dearie me, plenty going on there, plenty of battling. Harley Hamlin to 14, Siggy battling along with Richards, those 4 going side by side. Oh, that's going to be madness, goodness me. Crazy stuff going through there. And Bell going wide after being pushed off, I think. And goodness me. But yeah, Cameron Brewster, his lead is only 1.3 seconds, so it's not coming down as fast as I thought it was. David Junt starting to escape the clutches now. Morten Vernison in P3, Paul Watkins P4. Sven de Vries has had a cracking start, actually. Up into P5 now, certainly in with a shout of a podium from this race. Canapino P6 has broken free, and Mike Bell. And Bell now the bottle cork in P7. Going to be holding up Jordan Weeks. So Jordan Weeks on the inside, can't get anything done. Torborg 9, Strana rounding out your top 10. Lots to go on, and poor Alexander van der Wilder out of the points already. Such is the highs and lows of WSS. 1 minute you're on a high, and the next you are right back where you started. Meanwhile, De Vries on the inside of Paul Watkins here. Looking up the inside of the old man for P4. Oh, he's going to take Bernison as well! Oh my word! He had a look, didn't he? Very bold from Sven De Vries, and I tell you what, he's had an excellent run out of turn 2 as well. Straight onto the back of the Dane. I tell you what, the gap at the front has actually increased as well between Junt and Brewster. Brewster doing an excellent job. Heading into the hairpin we go. Watkins going to try and thread the needle between. Oh my word, Watkins. That's going to send him flying wide. Bye. Oh, off the track Watkins go. What a shame. It was a bold move, but Sven de Vries, by virtue of getting past Watkins, has now got past Vernison as well into P3. Vernison P4. Canapino P5. Watkins P6. Bell 7. Torborg 8th and past Weeks now. Heespeak P10, he's got past Strana, Richards 12th, Klont in 13th, Siggy 14th, and Harley Hamnet P15, and in a huge battle with Van der Wilder! Oh no! Oh dear. That was always going to happen. Contact with himself and Nikolai. Hard to see who was at fault there. I think Van der Wilder turned in a bit too early. What a shame. Boyd Bryson down there in 20th as well. He's had an awful lap. But hey, look at the gap at the front. It is increased once again. As Paul... Oh, no, that's Canapino on the back of Wernerson. Goodness me. That was quick. The Argentine now looking at P4. Can you believe it? Crazy stuff. Meanwhile, gap at the front. Okay. It had increased to 1.5. It's now down to 1 second. So, David Junt on the march. Now looking to close down Brewster for that lead. Sven de Vries third. Wernerson fourth. Still, oh, well, he was fourth for a brief moment. Here comes Agustin Canapino into turn 2. And that is nicely done by the Argentine. Into P4 he goes. Wernerson down to 5th. Watkins, meanwhile, P6. Holding off the advances of Jesper Torborg, goes ultra defensive already. And Torborg looking very good to receive more points by the end of this race. Mike Bell 8th and almost being pushed around by Jordan Weeks, of course. Jordan Weeks, goodness me, he's not Spanish, is he? Here comes Easterbeek and Strana, though. They're almost going to go 3 wide into the hairpin. Easterbeek fancies taking the pair of them. And 3 into 1 does not go. Oh, it does this time, mind you. Bell, amazingly, comes out of that still in 8th. Easterbeek into 9th. Jordan Weeks down to 10th, and Strana forced to stay behind in 11th. There's not really much he could do there. Harley Hamnet, meanwhile, now into P14. Him and Siggy have not been able to cut through this field at all well. As Paul Watkins gets overtaken by Jesper Torborg for P6 there. And Watkins now under heavy pressure from Mike Bell as well. So plenty of battling still to be done down the mid-order as Bell does get past. Watkins, come back. And yeah, apparently was hit off by Bell as well. Oh my word, all of them flying past now. Harley Hamnet up into P13 there. Watkins therefore down to P14. Under attack from Menacom. Real shame, and I can see another report coming Bell's way, unfortunately. Bit of a clumsy event for some people, which is a shame. But hey, let's look up at the battle for the front now. Cameron Brewster only leaves by 5/10 of a second. Another 5/10 eaten into his gap over the course of that lap by David Junt, the Swiss driver. As Morten Wernerson gets overtaken by his fellow Dane, Jesper Torborg into turn 1. Let's look to Junt now, who gets a really, really nice exit off of turn 2 there, coming through turn 3. He's going to tuck up into Brewster's slipstream now. And he's going to go to the inside, I presume, surely. I don't think this is Brewster's battle, unfortunately. He's going to give Junt something to think about. But yeah, not looking to aggressively defend that at all. And so David Junt takes the lead of the race. On lap 5 of 15. As bit of bunching up there at the hairpin. Ruud Easterbeek into 7th. Mike Bell down to 8th. Strana 9th and John Weeks. As Brewster back through on the lead. He had a go, didn't he? But forced out wide by Junt. And here comes Sven de Vries now. The American right on the back of Brewster. And he gets a much better exit through there, doesn't he? And that's P2 for the taking. Brewster, unfortunately, such as it is all fair play in WSS, isn't it? And shuffle down to P3. His main concern now is going to be Agustin Canapino. The one saving grace for Brewster is that Canapino does have 18 kilograms of weight ballast to contend with, which could work in Brewster's favour. Canapino is a fast driver and certainly worth looking out for. Torborg 5th, Wernerson 6th. Easterbeek now free of that battle with containing Bell is P7. Bell is in 8th then with Strana and Weeks very close behind. Also Matt Richards and Kevin Siggy going side by side, and Kevin Siggy through as well. And here comes Harley Hamnet as well. Nice opportunistic move from the Australian. And is he going to try and take Siggy as well? Surely not. He's going to have a look into turn 1. He can't do anything though. So Matt Richards shuffled down to 13th after being siphoned wide by Siggy. And those two up into... Oh, it was a Weeks, sorry. Crazy stuff as Weeks going through on Strana. Oh no, yeah, it is Weeks going through on Strana, you're right. And Strana is going to want to try and hook up onto the back of this slipstream that Weeks is providing. This is all allowing Bell to quietly motor off into the distance as Strana going onto the far outside of Weeks, and Weeks is going to have to let him have a bit of room here as into the hairpin we go between these two. And ever so close, but Strana retakes that position as Hamnet behind, under attack from Richards, manages to fend him off. I think he's going to try and overtake Siggy at the next possible opportunity here, because he's looked to have had a good exit. No, not much doing, not much doing. Battle at, well, the gap at the front is 9/10 of a second. Let's keep an eye on that as they head through Sector 3. Because I think Sven de Vries is a tad bit faster as Strana and Bell Bell, oh my word. Bell going wide. Oh, wonderful cutback. And Jordan Weeks giving Bell something to think about as well. Bashing him out wide. And, Weeks very careful not to clatter the back of Strana there. Looking visibly faster through this sector. Goodness me. Weeks. He's sort of where he started, isn't he? Trying to siphon his way through, but he can't do anything. Interesting, Sven de Vries has cut down the gap to Jan to 6/10. And we're only on lap 7 out of 15. I think Sven de Vries could very well win this race if he keeps up this sort of pace. But meanwhile, on the fringes of the top 10, here comes Kevin Siggy now. On the inside of Mike Bell into turn 2. Nope. Kevin Siggy always looking on the outside, and here comes Hamnet as well. Hamnet's had a great exit off of turn 2 and looking to get up into the slipstream here of Siggy and Bell. As Ruud Heesterbeek has just overtaken Wernerson. Yeah, I think he has. Let's see whether Wernerson gets anything on him. No, I don't think he is. Meanwhile, let's have a look here at Bell, Siggy and Hamnet. Siggy does go up the inside as Strana and Weeks battle ahead. And oh my word, and Hamnet was a bit blindsided by that. The two of them had a very oversteering moment, and Kevin Siggy is through on Bell then. Nice move. The two of them almost coming into contact. And Harley Hamnet's going to have to size up his move here, because he needs to get past Bell in order to keep up with Siggy, really. But Mike Bell is a tough customer. Oh, is he actually going to have a little run here? I don't think he is he? He's going to let him know he's there. Oh, he has a look, doesn't he? Got to be careful, though. Richards is close behind. Meanwhile, battle up at the front. Hey, it's down to 0.5 of a second, and Sven de Vries visibly catching now this battle, or the leader. And, well, I thought it was going to be David Junt's race to win here. 4th race win of the season. Sven de Vries, fastest lap of the race. He's looking to take his 2nd race win of the season. And this is especially crucial, because remember, the battle up at the top is Ice Cold versus Adonis Engineering versus Smile Power. This could be crucial for the championship. You never know. Pardon me. 0.5 could be the difference. I must apologise for my indigestion. I've had some pulled pork earlier. Lovely stuff from Sainsbury's. You should go and buy it. But Sven de Vries, he's eyeing up this win. I tell you now, he's eyeing it up. Also eyeing up a potential podium is Agustin Canapino, who is, or has been, slowly but surely catching up as, Weeks. Flashing Strana. As, Siggy! Oh my words! How on earth those three did not get into contact is beggars belief, as Mike Bell rudely shoving Hamnet out as, the lead. Send me somewhere, Dave. Send me somewhere. Sven de Vries. Right onto the back of David Junt now. Right onto the back, and it's pressure time. It's cooking time, and Rock likes what he smells. As Sven de Vries looking on the outside of David Junt, almost pushing him around the left banking section. Harley Hamnet through on Mike Bell, by the way, though, off the circuit, goodness me. Very close between those two, but as is very close between the front two. Behind Brewster, certainly hasn't fallen away as dramatically as I thought he would, but he's got Canapino and Torborg for company now, as Sven de Vries looking on the outside of David Junt into turn 1. David Junt goes a little bit wide, but defended very nicely. And we all know what sort of manoeuvre is coming up now. Sven de Vries needs a good exit off of this corner, which he does get. He does get a very nice exit, does de Vries. And into the slipstream he goes to David Junt. David Junt clearly wanting to take the inside line into the hairpin. The question is, can Sven de Vries take it around the outside? He is in the lead provisionally. David Junt breaks a little bit later to cover up the apex. And Sven de Vries, he tries to get on the power earlier. He's got a foot in. And David Junt can't just chop across like he would want to. De Vries has a right out line. Oh, well, maybe not. David Junt cutting across the American. And yeah, putting himself in the middle of the road. Probably the best place to put yourself, really. Junt trying his damned hardest to keep up here. But he's under heavy pressure here on lap 9 of 15. Got to think it's only a matter of time before De Vries does something. Meanwhile, I tell you what, Cameron Brewster still might be with... Gosh, words! Use them correctly, James. He might still be in for a good shot of a podium here, because the rate of which Torborg has caught up is meant that Canapino is looking in his rear view mirrors as much as his front mirrors. And that could help Brewster massively here. It really could. Very close, those three, though, as we head into turn 1 once again with the leaders. David Junt leading by 0.2 of a second from Sven De Vries. Into turn 2 we go once again. De Vries will be looking to get a better exit. Junt seemed to have gotten a good exit there as well, though, as Eric Strana overtakes Morten Wernersen, the latest man to overtake the Dane. Slowly but surely shuffling around, but once again Cameron Brewster there or thereabouts, holding his own as we look to De Vries now. On the outside of David Junt, not as much slipstream as last time. As Torborg on the inside of Canapino here. Oh, contact between the two. And more contact between the two. And Torborg forced out wide. Brewster in all that, staying ahead. It's going to get a bit rough between those three, I reckon. Going to get a bit rough. As Sven De Vries looking to the outside of David Junt. He's going to try and run the outside. And David Junt just about holding on, and Sven De Vries flashing his lights. He's not happy at all. He thinks that David Junt's not giving him anywhere near enough room. And I tell you what, on a couple of occasions, I am intending to agree with the American here. Junt certainly not giving enough room on the right-hander up until that corner where De Vries tried the move. Oh, and apparently Canapino pushed Brewster off. So, the Argentine, he's not steered clear of controversy throughout this entire season at all, and certainly in for a bit of controversy once again, though knowing Brewster, if you apologise to him, he's probably not going to report you anyway. So Canapino up into the podium, Torborg 4th, Brewster shuffled down to 5th unfairly, as we looked, oh my word, Sven De Vries mounting the curve at turn 1. We would look to other battles, but this one is ever so close now. Into turn 2 we go. Oh, Junt takes it very nicely, actually. Very nicely indeed, and I think that the Swits might have gotten the bottle on this situation now. We'll have to wait and see. Let's go through the other point scorers. So it's then Canapino, Torborg, Brewster, Heasterbeek, Strana, Siggy, Hamnet, who's now gone past Morten Wernersen, who's been shuffled down to 10th, Richards, Bell, Palm, De Vos and Lopez, our race 1 winner, battling around with De Vos for that final position. Close behind is Schroten and Nikolai, and watch out for Olsen and Bryson and Sinkevicius in the background as well. If anything goes wrong up ahead, they could yet benefit. Looking up at the front once again, De Vries, he's like an ever-present shadow of David Junt, isn't he? Right onto the back of him once again, but it's lap 11 of 15. We're running out of time here, Sven. Gotta do something now. Otherwise you can't do anything at all, really. We've seen quite a nice couple of overtaking opportunities for you, but you've got to make it stick, Kevin. Got to make it count. Behind. Augustin Canapino seems to have taken a nice gap on Torborg. Brewster still holding his own in 5th with Heasterbeek. As Siggy looking on the inside of Strana now. Strana, of course, no weight. Siggy with 9 kilograms of weight. But looking the faster driver is the Austrian. Once again, another impressive round from the Austrian, doing much better in tin tops. Mind you, though, Harley Hamnet's right in the back of this as well. As the lead once again, here comes, oh, Sven De Vries. He's had a much better exit out of turn 1 here, hasn't he? He's looking on the inside of David Junt into turn 2. And the strategic thing here would be to make sure that Junt does not get a good exit. He's not done that, though, as De Vries. He's not done that. He's got the lead, but for how long? For how long, I ask you? As Kevin Siggy has indeed got past Eric Sean. Those two still battling. Sven De Vries, though. Oh, has he been able to keep out the slipstream? He's going to go defensive here. Junt around the outside. Tries to get the cut back. De Vries, I think he's got it. Sven De Vries leads this race on lap 12 of 15. Oh, Jordan. Jordan Weeks is out, unfortunately, along with Ilya Bricalo and Rob Mason. Just noticed that. Oh, what a shame for Weeks, who's looking so good as well. I noticed he dropped off somewhere. But Sven De Vries leads then He was evidently the faster driver behind Yunt, and all he has to do is extend his gap enough through Sector 3 here and Sector 1 of lap 13 to be able to be out of range for David Yunt. That said, Yunt is really holding on to the back of him well, isn't he? Not going to let this go. Not going to let this go at all. And we'll just have to see whether De Vries can hold on. Meanwhile, Torborg has re-caught Canapino. Could Torborg yet get another podium? He's certainly not going to win a race today. But if my calculations are correct, he should still lead the championship. I haven't done my maths as always. As Ruud Heesterbeek. Oh, here we go. Ruud Heesterbeek on Cameron Brewster, and Cameron Brewster really lets him have that. So Heesterbeek up into 5th. It's Adonis 1-5, Smile 2-4, Ice Cold 7-14. Yeah, Ice Cold suffering once again. Behind Brewster, Eric Strana and Kevin Siggy still battling, along with Harley Hamnett, who's caught up onto the back of this lot. And actually, Sven de Vries has really opened up the gap on Yunt. And now it is de Vries's to lose. Absolutely. Looking for his second race win of the season. It's been the resurgence of the one race winners. Oh, what's happened here? Oh, right, okay, cool. Apparently just Hamnett and Siggy both outbroke themselves, and they appear to have come out in the same order that they went into the corner, though Strana evidently onto the back of Siggy much more prominently now. Though still not able to do anything. And Harley Hamnett a bit further behind, Verson 10th, but losing time to Matt Richards now. Mike Bell P12, Palm P13, Lopez P14, Marius Nikolai P15, and just on the outskirts of the point lies Tobias Olsen from the back of the grid. If he scores a point, that would be very impressive, considering it is his debut here as well. 8/10 the gap between Yunt and de Vries through Sector 2. What is it as we cross the line onto lap 14 of 15? 9/10 of a second. It is increasing. Sven de Vries doing what he needs to do to win another race for Adonis Engineering. Canapino and Torborg both going very wide at turn 1 once again. These two will no doubt go into battle for the final spot of the podium. Ruud Heesterbeek in no man's land now, P5. Brewster P6. Kevin Siggy P7. Strana P8. Hamnett once again catching up onto the back of this line, P9. Verneson though has Matt Richards for company for P10 and P11. Into turn 2 we go. Verneson holding on the inside. Richards on the outside. And I think Richards might very well get him hit. Oh, very close. And the two are going to go side by side. Down the bank. Oh, nice. Not banked. Get your corners right, James. It's a left curve. Left curve, not a curved straight. There's no such thing. Verneson on the inside. Richards on the outside into the hairpin. Richards outbrakes Verneson very nicely. Around the hairpin we go. And, oh, lovely move from Richards. Into the top 10 he goes. Verneson down to 11th. Mike Bell 12th, Palm 13th, Lopez 14th as we have more battling with Hamnett on the outside of Strana, who's fallen away from Siggy. The Australian right onto the back of his ice-cold rival. And he's got a much better exit. Strana really struggling now, and I don't know quite why. Hamnett's got penalty weight, remember, 27 kilos of it. And a little bit of contact there through the right-hander into the first right-hand of Sector 3. Strana going on the inside of the banked corner. Oh, contact further. And Strana just about holding ahead. Really good battling between these two. A bit of nip and tuck contact. But the battle for 8th is certainly not over yet. And Kevin Siggy pulling away, saying, thank you very much. I'll take this position any day you like. Final lap for the leaders. Sven de Vries leads by 9/10 of a second still. From David Yunt, from Augustin Canapino, from Jesper Torborg, from Heesterbeek, Brewster, Siggy, Strana, Hamnett and Richards round out your top 10. 1 second now the gap between de Vries and Yunt, and I think it's going to be very much the same case as with Lopez before. The only way Yunt can win this race is if Sven de Vries messes up the hairpin, the most likely place to mess up, and well, Sven de Vries takes it pretty much perfectly. And David Yunt has not much to answer for. Meanwhile, look at Torborg and Canapino. Very close to those two as Harley Hamnett outbrakes himself into the hairpin. Oh, contact between those two. Goodness me. As Palm looking to overtake Bell as well into that corner. It's all kicking off now Torborg right on the back of Canapino. He wants a podium, does the Dane? But he can't get past the Argentine, who's had a, well, initial thoughts would say he's had a very good round, 3rd and 4th at least, as Pavel Loknovsky retires from this race. But he's had contact as Canapino, and that could leave him vulnerable to penalties. But hey, what a race it has been at the front. We thought it was going to be David Junt winning this race, his 4th race of the season. Not so. Rounding the final corner now comes Sven de Vries to take his 2nd win of the season. 3rd win of the season for Adonis Engineering. Excellent stuff from the American after contact with Canapino in race 1. Junt's P2. Canapino does come home P3 with Torborg 4th. He's to be 5th. Brewster an excellent 6th once again. Siggy 7th. Strana 8th, just ahead of Hamnet. Matt Richards 10th. Verneson 11th. Martin Palm 12th. Mike Bell 13th. Fran Lopez P14th. And Marius Nikolai dragging along with him Tobias Olsen from the back of the grid, those two. Marius Nikolai scoring a point for Drake on debut. Tobias Olsen, unfortunately, just missing out. So what a battle that was again. Goodness me. Your retirements for that race were Loknovsky, Frith, Weeks, Bracalo, and Mason. So, well. Another fantastic evening of entertainment. WSS keeps on providing. And I'll have to do some quick maths for you to find out who now leads the championship, because I'm wondering whether there's been a bit of a chopping and changing here. Strana 8th. Lopez coming home. Lopez 14th. Just shows how much those 25 kilograms of weight can affect you. And Brewster 10th. That's really all we need to know. And we'll just wait for some interviewers. Also, if you want to ask any questions to our interviewees, then by all means, send them in now, sooner rather than later. I don't think we have had anything in, unfortunately. Let's just check the hashtag GPVWC once again, see whether anyone's used it. Nah, okay. Results. It's a race. It was a race. Good race. So Torborg got 10 points in race 1. Junt got only 5 in race 1. So 25 for Junt puts him on 138. 23 for Torborg puts him on 147. So the gap has closed to 9 points now. Not really enough though. De Vries took 32 points, so he's up onto 138. So Junt only in 2nd by merit of the amount of wins he has had. And mind you, he's speak right back into this as well, only 2 points behind. So lots to go through in the final 3 rounds of the season, certainly. And also there's potential penalties to worry about as well for certain drivers, that's for sure. Canapino no less in the middle of them. Richards, his teammate, with perhaps something to account for. Bit of dodgy driving all over the place, really. But that's WSS for you. So anyway, let us start off. Okay, sorry about that. We just lost Simracing TV. So yes, Sven. 2nd race win of the season, 9 points behind the Drivers' Championship leader Torborg. Only 3rd on merit of race wins for David Junt here. Unfortunately, race 1 didn't go as well as you had hoped, at least.
Well, winning obviously feels very good, but you know, race 1 didn't really go as planned. I had a great start, but I had to kind of slam on the brakes and do some avoiding maneuver to make sure I didn't hit the guys in front of me. So that was unfortunately fell back to P4. I think eventually we were 3 wide on the straight, and I saw Canapino in the middle going back to the left, so I went as well. And in my point of view, he suddenly stopped going left and even went a little bit right. So you know, I tapped him, flew into the wall on the right, and collected a couple of guys. So I apologize for that. I don't think there's much I could have done about it. I tried to brake, but you know, that definitely cost me my race, Siggy's race. I think Strana also had a lot of damage, so after that I basically let Root pass immediately and try to hold up the guys behind me as much as possible. Obviously within reason, and finished the race in ninth. I think we as a team did good for the Constructors' Championship, with Root finishing second, Talborg sixth, myself ninth, and Junt 11th. Then obviously race 2, winning the race was nice. I had quite a long battle with Junt. I knew I was a lot faster. I have to admit I wasn't the happiest man in the world with the way he pushed me off the track a couple of times, but you know, in the end, winning the race was very good. Having Root come home in 5th, I think we're doing pretty good for the Constructors' Championship. It looks as if it's going to be a close race to the end.
Yeah, we did see the flashing of lights. I think we'll keep arms and elbows in our pockets, if you can fit your elbows in your pockets for the interviews at least. But 3 rounds to go now, 6 races. I haven't done the points tally for the team's championship because I wasn't quick enough, but it seems to me very much like the drivers' championship is going to be between yourself, Ruud, David, and Jesper. Do you think you have what it takes to win this championship? Because you are only 9 points behind, and after a scrappy start to the season, you are certainly coming on strong near the end of it.
Yeah, I don't see why I couldn't win it, but same goes for all the other guys. I think we're basically at equal speed. I mean, obviously, Ruud and myself had quite a bit of bad luck the first couple of races in this season, but things are getting better lately. So we seem to be catching back up. So you know, we'll try our best, and may the best driver win.
All right, thank you very much for joining us, Sven. And now we move on to David. I had you down to win race 2, David. And then suddenly Sven de Vries comes rocking up behind you and passes you. And, well, I mean, P2 must be still a good result for you. And, of course, you only took 5 points away in race 1. Fact of the matter is, though, is that despite losing out in both races really to, other drivers, you've actually gained further on Jesper's lead. Only 9 points away from him now. How are you feeling after this event? You've been our longest running championship leader in the drivers' tournament, so do you think you might be able to retake that lead in the coming 3 rounds?
Actually, I want to start with the first race because it was actually, I planned to do that. I dropped back, and when Sven and Jordan had to battle, I thought, well, if they crash each other out, I don't mind, but I thought I didn't want to attack, and so I stayed back and even let Mike through because I knew Mike was a good driver. And Otto took 11th and had start 6th. But if you're going back at your question, 9 points back again something back. I mean, I'm still a bit sad over what happened at Austria. Now that I've at least got good internet now, which should handle it well, I'm quite sure I can still do it. I've got the consistency and let's say the patience to pass people. I don't want too much too early, I think. So I guess I can still gain that.
It's good to have a bit of optimism. I mean, you've got some pretty good competition in the Adonis boys here. It's going to be pretty much between you 4 until the end of the season. Tell us, who do you think is actually going to be your big... Oh, we lost one. Okay. Who do you think is going to be your biggest rival when it comes to this championship? Who do you fear the most? Do you fear Talborg? I mean, he hasn't won a race this season, but he's ultra consistent. Sven starting to ramp up the pressure. Ruud ever present as well.
It's really tough to say. At the start of the season, with some problems for Adonis and crashes, I thought it would be more like me and Jesper in the end. But I have to say, really, in the second race, that Sven had the pace. I was too nervous to maintain some of the laps I think I could have done from practice, and so I just couldn't shake him off. And I have to say that one time where he flashed, I can understand that, but I'm not here to be nice to anybody, or at least too nice, so he has to pass me in some way, and I didn't feel like he was really on the way, so I just stay where I was. But pace-wise, I'd say he's one of the contenders I also fear. Also Ruud, because Ruud has outright pace. I mean, of course he had less ballast than me and Jesper, but his quali lap was, I think, quite a bit better than ours, so he took second place in the first race and also came back up to, I think, 6th or 5th, and that just shows how good he is. He evaded some of the problems behind, and Jesper, I mean, 2 laps more, and maybe Agustin and Jesper would have caught me because I kept the pace of Sven finally, but they were coming closer and closer. I thought it's going to be slower and they would pass me. So I can't really decide who I fear the most. Those 3 guys. It's like all 3 of them have their weak and their strong points. So I'm having to look out for all of them. And now that we're like inside 12 points, it's just gonna be more and more exciting for the spectators to watch.
Interesting thoughts. Interesting thoughts indeed, and thank you very much for joining us, David. We wish you all the best. And actually now, just brilliant timing. Harley Hamnet, podium in race 1, 9th in race 2. Another solid evening for you, but you don't seem to be harnessing in that ultimate pace which you seem to find in open practice.
Yeah, I don't know. Race 1 was well. I just couldn't get by Rude. He held off nice. Great racing, and then the last lap was awesome with Augustin and Rude. But yeah, I was happy to get P3 in the end.
And well, you're one of these people who's not exactly in the drivers' championship, but certainly you've got a part to play in it all. You're both in the team's championship with Enterprise now, and indeed your own pride as such in the drivers' championship below the top 4. What are your personal aims until the end of the season now? Because really, we'll say the top 4 is out of reach. We'll say that the top 3 in the team's championship is out of reach. Would you say then that P5 in the drivers and P4 for Enterprise is the aim, or are you going a little bit lower? Or give us your thoughts on what you want to do for the rest of this season.
Well, I don't actually know where we are, to be honest. But yeah, I know I'm just gonna do my best in every race. So if that ends up with the best result we can get, what, P5 you said, well then that would be good. With the drivers' championship, obviously I can't get it, but I could stir some things up. I could stop people from getting it, I guess.
We always love an extra cook in the brothel. Brothel? I'm sure it's a different thing. A brothel's a completely different matter. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us, Harley.
Nice.
So once again, fantastic round of racing. You really cannot get better than this. Or can you? Perhaps you should tune in to next week, where we have the career ladder at the Hockenheim ring once again. Formula Challenge on the Tuesday, Super Cup on the Wednesday, Super League on the Thursday, as always, and then 2 weeks Monday. Lunatics in the International Touring Cup will be heading round the Norris ring. No idea why. It's going to be mad. There's probably going to be crashes, so it's worth watching for that. And then make sure that you come back here same time in 2 weeks to see the final WSS round before the break. We will be heading to the Hungora ring. Deadly on tyre wear, and who knows, perhaps you can throw up even more surprises. Perhaps we'll see a true leader of this championship emerge. Who knows? The only way is to find out. I'd like to thank my cameraman for this evening once again, Dave Carr-Smith, spotting as always, doing his best, and just being a lovely person really. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it's a very warm goodbye.